Okay, thanks, Walla. So now I'd like to open and introduce this session before lunchtime, and it is developing business cases for increased investment in Jodeci. So to set the scene here, we all know that Jodeci has challenges around funding, around capacity development, and this particular session will provide you with insights, motivation, ideas, and some examples around developing these business cases. Very thankful to have Albert here, who will be opening this with some slides. And there will be two activities. There will be a mini activity about 10 minutes through, and then we will end with about a half-hour group activity where you will get to work together and develop these business cases. So I'm going to just pass over and welcome Albert. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everyone. I know I've missed a lot of sessions, so I may not even have introduced myself to the group. So my name is Albert Momo. I'm the founder and CEO, oh man, that's a big title, and CEO of a company called GeoDev International based in Washington, D.C. And prior to funding that company, for the past 6-7 years, I was a vice president at Trimble, in charge of the emerging market. And I also wear some other hats with UNGGC. I'm the co-chair of the International Advisory Committee, and I'm also a board member of the NASA Applied Science Group. So I've been involved in conversations when it comes to money, right? So, and I know it's a subject that is of interest for you because, you know, at the end of the day, all the good technical conversations that we can have, at some point you want money to be able to do that. And I like that Ryan and Nick, you know, add this topic in the workshop for you to have some ideas on how to come with a use case that you can present to your decision makers. So the overview of the session is to give you some insight on developing strong business case to secure investment. How do you address geodetic need? What type of motivation do you have for increased investment for geodesy? I'm pretty sure every single one of you thinks that your country is not investing enough in geodesy. So how can you convince them to put more money? What are the options for securing investment? And you know, how can you communicate these needs and motivations? And I like the previous conversation, the previous topic, you know, where Nick start talking to you about, you know, how do you communicate with people who are not geodetic experts. And as Ryan mentioned, we're going to have some case studies and group activities. So internally, why do you need increased investment? I'm lucky enough to have visited, you know, almost all of your countries, and for being involved in many of the geodetic activities in your countries. And I had conversation with some of you the other day. I don't want to name the countries, because I recall many years ago, I made donations through AFREF to, I think, 20 African countries. And some of them actually never actually opened the total station that I gave them for free. And I visited countries where the total stations are still there. And of course, a lot of total stations also are not in use anymore. So one simple thing is, you know, how can we just update the software? You know, one way of making sure that you still have equipment that's working is to update the software, to upgrade the software regularly. So that may be a reason to increase investment. And obviously, when you have an equipment that's been there for 15, 20 years, and I know what I'm talking about, at some point you want to change it, right? You want to replace it. So one conversation that you can have with your decision makers is to show them the picture of when the equipment arrived 20 years ago and how it looks like now, and tell them it's time to change the same way you change your laptop or your other equipment. We all know, and that's also one of the best that we can get out of UNGDC. We know the need for training and resources. And I know, Nick, that you are planning a lot of activity, and this is really an example, activities on training and resources. We know that we need a more skilled workforce, to manage geodetic operations. And of course, we want to be able to do maintenance and support the infrastructure that we have. So that would be the internal approach of needing more money. But why do you need to secure funds? How can you develop a strong business case? First of all, you need to stay operational. You want to be able to provide redundancy. You want to support and maintain the systems. You want to extend capabilities. I had a conversation with one of you, a few minutes ago, when we were talking about, the course network in that country. They need to densify the course, and I know it's the case for almost every country represented here. And some of them don't even have an operational course network. You want to upgrade the systems, and please stop hanging on old systems that you have. You really need to find ways to convince your decision makers that it's time to upgrade. And I don't want to make this conversation extremely technical, but I want you to explore with partners, with others, even ways to maybe not use a course network if you're not able to secure funding. So how can you do with RTK and other options that are out there? So you want also to consider things like that. But holding on all systems that are not providing any useful data to you is useless. And of course, we really need to train and sustain the personnel and processes. And all of that, of course, is to modernize the GRS. But I don't want to pronounce GRS because Nick just said, if you want to talk to people, don't even use GRS, right? So to craft a strong business case, you have to start by identifying critical needs. So what is the existing gap between, from your geodetic infrastructure and the capabilities that you have? I am pretty sure many of you recall what happened, I think it was a year ago, when the GNSS system had some issue. I mean, it was mostly GPS. There was like a stop everywhere, bank, the New York Stock Exchange was closed, and there was a lot of panic. And I don't know exactly how it affected countries in Africa, but I'm pretty sure that there were also activities that were stopped. And you can always use examples like that to bring that the need of a robust infrastructure, a need for for decision makers to consider why we need infrastructure. And we know that, and I think we're going to see that in some of the subsequent slides, we know that many of our activities now rely on a geodetic infrastructure that is working very well. So you want to be able to articulate those compelling reasons for increased investment in geodesy, right? You know, you want to showcase the importance of geodesy, and I know also that UNGDC put together white papers and a lot of, you mentioned the critical need, and so all those documents, please use them to your advantage when you try to build a strong business case. And you want to explore funding options. And the suggestion that I'm going to make here is, don't always think that the only way you can get funding is by having a line in the government budget. You can be more creative in how you approach funding options. And I'm going to give you at least 2 documents that you can look at that may help you looking for options. There was a study from the World Bank in 2018, 2019, that was focusing mostly on land reform. Because one thing that I want you also to understand, sometimes it's very difficult to secure funds for geodetic work. So you want to combine that with something else. And one of the topic that is always of high interest for government is land reform. So if you can tell them that, okay, the X million dollars that they're trying to get from World Bank or African Development Bank for land reform, just put a percentage of that, 5%, for equipment. And as you know, many of your countries actually were able to fund the CORS network through land project, not directly because, those agencies were funding CORS network. They were funding land, and then there was a subset of that fund that went to CORS. And usually, because it's a very small amount, it's actually easy for you, compared to the big amount that they have for land reform. So it's usually easy for you to convince them and to get that funding. I don't know if Ghana is represented here. Yes. Yeah, so Ghana is a good example for PPP, for example, right? So we all know that PPP is a good way to try to get funding for geodetic infrastructure. And in Ghana, what they were able to do was to work with an Israeli company, and also at that time with Trimble, to implement a CORS network and making sure that the government of Ghana itself didn't put any money into it. So it's easy to use, some of the models like build, operate, and transfer, or sometimes even design, build, operate, and transfer, and find ways to develop your geodetic capability using the PPPs. And for those interested, I mentioned that World Bank study. So they end up with a report that you can download, and the title of that report is PPP for Land Reform. So if you go online and look for that report, it's something that you can use to your advantage. And another document that that's actually specific to Africa, and thanks God I was also involved in that one, is a geospatial PPP for Africa. And that report was developed by WGIC, which is the World Geospatial Information Council, Industry Council, So same thing, if you go to WGIC network website, you should be able to download that report. And I'm going to insist a little bit on that, the report of WGIC, because it looks at all the dimensions of PPPs. And once again, I know you guys are technical people mostly, but you really want some time to take that technical hat and start thinking, business, and that's why this is business case, right? So how can I convince people how can I convince decision makers that is in the best interest of our organization, is in the best interest of our country to fund geodetic infrastructure, and those reports will be of good help for you. And the WGIC one also highlight the existing legal infrastructure within African countries. Because sometimes the main issue is not actually convincing them, is creating a platform that they can use in order to do PPPs. And PPPs is also the way to explain how you can generate revenue, even for the government, by investing in geodetic infrastructure. So this pyramid is trying to capture some of the geodetic needs that you can use when you build your business case. So capacity development is always very important. We want to have expertise within our countries, within African countries, to be able to lead geodetic programs, to be able to develop geodetic infrastructure. The world is evolving, and we know that countries that are taking lightly all the location-based solutions are, as staying behind. And because we know that we can do more, being Uber, being GPS in your car, you really want those infrastructures to be advanced within your country. So that's another need that you have to look at. We're going to mention later how we can do more with regional coordination and of course sustainability of this. Is it when I give you the answer, Rand? Yeah. So Rand, go ahead. I will come back later.
Thanks, Albert. So just based on that information that Albert has given you, that's setting the scene. We're going to have a mini exercise now. It's to help to get your creative juices thinking around business cases. And this is a model and approach I've developed called the landscape of national motivators and stakeholders. And the purpose of this is for you to sit, take off your Jodeci hat most of the time, and is to consider for your country or region a number of parameters. The first is on the left there in the black box, the top 3 industries. What are the top 3 industries in your nation, your home country? Then, what are the top 3 government projects? Then, what are the top 3 growth areas for your nation? On the bottom left here, I'd like for you to summarize the top 3 challenges that your nation and its society has. And then finally, put your Jodeci hat back on and say, what are the top 3 Jodeci needs within our nation? And the purpose of this exercise, and I've populated this with some things from an Australian context, but the idea of having this landscape, these top 3 of these different factors, as it allows for you very easily to say, okay, these are industries, projects, growth areas, and challenges that when I'm developing business cases for Jodeci, I'm going to be a lot more successful if I can link what we want from Jodeci needs to as many of these top 3 issues and challenges as you can. Now, very quickly, the reason for doing this is that if you're going for funding from your national agency or even an international development agency, they generally have also this type of hit list or checklist. They know what their issues and challenges are. And if they see proposals coming in that tick and are connected with these, you should see that that's going to have more chance of being funded. If you only focus on business cases with your top 3 Jodeci needs, you're going to fail. Sorry to be direct, but you're going to fail because they're going to look at this and say, Jodeci, I don't know what it is. think back to your previous example where we wanted you to share what Jodeci is and how it benefits your nation, industries, governments. This is the document that you can use to help that. So we're just going to have a very quick 2-minute example. You can use the slides, and not 5 minutes, but just 2 minutes. Individually, use the slide there and just put in what you think are the top 3 challenges, industries, growth areas, and Jodeci needs, because you're going to use this at the group activity at the end. Thanks. As a means of helping you, I'm going to, because we only have a minute left, I'm going to put some of these examples up there if they help for you to think. Okay, everybody. I hope I've seen lots of writing. I've seen lots of erasing and scribbling out, but I hope you're thinking that, wow, that's interesting to know. The more we know about this, the better it will help us. So keep thinking about that. You'll need it later, but I'll pass across to Albert again to continue. Thanks. And Albert, we got about 15 minutes to give the team about 15 minutes on the activity. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. So I really like this exercise, and we did the same with Fernand here. And so who else is from Côte d'Ivoire? So we're gonna check if you come up with the same solution as Fernand. So when building your business case, you want to have in mind what are the important sectors that may be affected by Jodeci. So we listed some here. As you know, post-COVID, many countries are going through infrastructure, and in Africa, as you know, even the African Union, put infrastructure as one of the top sector for the continent. And they have maps with all those inter-African roads, and every single country is putting infrastructure as a very important sector within the country. And of course, infrastructure and sustainable development, infrastructure planning and design, maintenance and monitoring of infrastructure, and of course, sustainable urban development. We know of many smart city projects that are all over the continent, and I don't think you can have a smart city without geodesy. And of course, you want to be able to monitor climate change, both on the adaptation side of climate change and also on resilience mitigation part of climate change. And we're going to see those later in the presentation. So what are some of the common sources of geodetic data inaccuracies? And once again, this is one of those slide where I don't have to say much. You probably know all these better than I do. So we have the measurement errors, we have data interpretation errors, you have data processing errors, and of course, outdated references. And when I was here 2 days ago, I think some people were mentioning the outdated references that they have and the need for the country to update their references. So you guys are very familiar with this. So for each of those industries, what is the impact that the concerns that you may have with geodesy, the inaccuracy of geodetic data, what are the impact that you can have? Construction, of course, misaligned structures. You can have compromised infrastructure, and of course, costly repairs. Navigation, incorrect routes, accidents and delays. Resource management, of course, inefficient resource allocation, environmental damage, economic losses, and of course, you can have inaccurate maps, misleading information, and that will lead to poor decision making. And with emergency response, you can delay response time. You can have inaccurate information when you try to locate where you have an incident. And of course, there is an increased risk. So there are safety risks, there are economic losses, and environmental impact. And once again, those are arguments that you want to be able to put on your business case when you talk to your decision makers. So why should they invest in geodesy? What are the key benefits and application? Precision agriculture is one of them, and I know probably every single country here rely a lot on agriculture. So you can always tell your decision maker that precision agriculture will be a way to increase productivity. And I think it's something that they all want to hear. How can we increase productivity? National security is also a very important sector for every single country. So being able to put in front of decision maker the importance of geodesy for national security, and same thing for economic growth, and of course for environmental protection. So this is a quote out of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, where they will say 15 of 18 critical infrastructure and key resources sector rely on GPS, including telecommunication, emergency services, and financial exchanges. And I think it's the same with almost every single country. And this is a report that Euroconsult, I think now called Novaspace, put out for Europe on the economic growth that is expected from GNSS, Earth observation, and satellite telecommunications. And I think recently, I don't have the numbers, but when they were inaugurating the African Space Agency in Cairo, they have similar numbers for Africa. I don't have the exact number, but they come up also with numbers on how the space sector can generate revenue in Africa. So these are some ways to measure the economic impact of geodetic applications. So, and I mentioned also, in enhancing public safety, which is always a good thing to hear from decision makers, improve the decision-making process, create market opportunities, increase productivity. I mentioned agriculture. Infrastructure is also another sector where, with a better geodetic investment, you can increase productivity in infrastructure and, of course, save a lot of money. So what are the challenges and solutions? The number one challenge that you're always going to have is the lack of awareness, right? Our decision makers are not aware of the impact of geodesy. There's one advice that I'm going to give you, especially you technical people. In every single one of your country, you need to identify a champion. That's very important. And that champion may not be someone who is knowledgeable of geodesy at all, but is someone who can listen to you or who can listen to your boss. Is someone who's willing to have conversations with you. And if you are able to convince that champion can be the prime minister, it can be the president himself, it can be someone in the president office, someone in the prime minister office, or, someone of influence, right, who can influence decision-making at the highest level. So once you have that champion and you know that you can always go through him to secure at least listening ears from final decision makers, when you have those people, everything that I'm mentioning here, the first, and even the exercise that you just have, I mean, Nick was talking about journalists or someone, a board member or a CEO, or same thing with that, champion. You want to be able, in few words, in less, is not technical words, you want to be able to explain to them why geodetic is important. Geodetic is important. And that lack of awareness, that's the best way to fix it. When you have someone who become aware of the need to increase investment in geodesy, that person will be the one who will always go somewhere at the ministry council, the presidency, or wherever the decision is made. That person will be the one taking, carrying all your business cases that you are developing. And there is always, of course, that competition for funding. And you will never compete, with education. You will never compete with health. You will have a hard time competing with agriculture, right? So how can you come up with ways where you can have the decision maker say, yes, I know education is important, health is important, but geodesy is also important, right? And many countries, like I say, I know most of your countries are creating, like the health map, where they want to have, they capture all the hospitals. They're also creating the education map where they want to capture, where all the schools are. So by showing how the geodesy can help with other areas, you create a way for them to start thinking about, okay, we can fund geodesy the same way we fund other areas. And, we mentioned here long-term investment and technical complexities, but, once again, find ways to be able to bring your business case in such a way that people you don't turn down people who are making the decision for you, people who are giving you money. So find ways to to convince them by using words that they understand, and also importantly by showing why it's important to them and why it's important to the country. So some of the potential sources of funding. So of course, government agencies. We mentioned some in the US, NASA, NOAA, USGS. Of course, this slide was put together before everything that's happening now, because we just pick the 3 agencies that have a lot of cut in the fundings. But anyway, the NASA, NOAA, and USGS of your country may not have the type of cut that these are having in the US. So government agencies, you can look at private entities. We talk about foundations, we talk about private companies to do the PPPs. Crowdfunding is also a way to try to raise funds for geodesy in your country. So I think I talk a little bit about how partnering with private companies and investors. So here you have like a process, that you can go through. And once again, I really advise you to look at that report from the World Bank, look at that report from WGIC, and you're going to see real, case studies. I mentioned the one from Ghana. It's really a good one to look at, because that's really one of the success stories that you have in Africa in using PPP to develop a cost network. And of course, you should always be able to leverage existing infrastructure expertise. And we have, in this room, the people that are really well suited to leverage that and leverage yourself. You can collaborate with universities, and now having a workshop like this one, allow you also to collaborate, with colleagues from other countries. So that's very important. Once again, I'm highlighting what's happening in Ghana, that you guys can take a clue. I don't want to focus only on Ghana. I have to mention Nigeria. We know that Osgov in Nigeria is doing a lot of work in trying to bring Nigeria to a level where the country will be also a big player when it comes to geodetic. The same way they were successful with NASRAD in space, I think Nigeria, they're now having all the desire and the people within Osgov, to put the country on the map when it comes to geodesy. So please exchange with some of your colleagues. And we all know that, of course, South Africa is probably the most advanced country when it comes to geodesy. So you want to be able to collaborate with those. Data sharing, many countries here went through that 20 years ago with NSDI. So just continue the same conversation you had at that time, when you were trying to put together NSDI within your country. And I think the conversation now is much easier. And within agencies, I think now more and more countries, there is exchange between agencies within countries. So you want to continue those data sharing opportunities and those data sharing capabilities that you put together. And of course, being able to have joint projects. And, we won't mention that enough. Capacity building is the key. You really want to have, more and more expertise in geodetic within your country. I think this is the end, right? With the 2030 agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals of UN. And it's always good to know that geodesy can be connected to 17 of those goals, and that there are 169 targets and 230 indicators that our work can enhance, can make it possible to collect and to put each country in a direction to achieve those global goals. So I think that's it, right? Thank you so much.
Thanks, Albert. We'll move through now just to get to the group activity, because I really want that you are able to use the insights that you've had from the slides and the discussions and some of the examples that Albert has raised, to be able to start thinking around how we draft business cases. So we now get into the group activity, and the purpose of this is to start to identify some business cases that you can take away from this workshop and really start to work on, that will obviously work with the geodesy needs that you have, but can then start to link, can start to map your geodesy needs with what industry needs. what the government needs, what ongoing projects there are, what relevant types of opportunity there are to work in a public-private partnership as well. So in this, I would like for you to work in your buddy pairs. So potentially just on the same, if you're sharing a microphone with somebody, you can pair up with them. And I'll ask you to use the following table, is to identify 3 situations of geodesy in your country that require financial investment. We're not talking here about knowledge and expertise. We're actually talking around the financial investment, because then the financial investment will allow for you to buy equipment, resources, training. We're talking about what's the big dollar number you need. And we'd like to understand some estimates of what that would cost. Don't worry about getting this exact, just understand, is it $100,000? Is it $1 million? Is it $1 billion? Just to get some context. The second step there is we'd like for you to think about when you get situation 1 delivered, what will be the benefits that will come to the industries, to the growth sectors, to the government projects because of that geodesy need that you fulfilled. What are those? Which of the motivators do those benefits align with? And the final part for each of the situations is, okay, what can we do to help secure this funding? And what I would like you to think about for that part is to say, well, we would like to have more GNSS cores infrastructure, because that will benefit surveying, mapping. It will also benefit infrastructure projects or hydrography or disaster management, whatever. That aligns with some government critical projects. Okay, we know what we need from a geodesy side. We know where that can benefit certain industries or sectors. What can I do? And we're really looking here is to say, the first part that I can do is start to identify the potential stakeholders that we could work with to do a joint funding activity or investigate. Because as we've learned, securing investment purely for a geodetic project is not very successful. But if you can identify some reliable and proactive stakeholders, then together you can work on a bigger, better, more successful business case. So I'll leave that now and give you 10 minutes to think around this, even if it's just one situation. But please try and work with your buddy partner to put some ideas into this table. And then just before lunch, we might give anybody who's willing to share an opportunity to tell us one of their situations. Nick and I are going to walk around the room, so if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Thank you. Okay, everybody, I just need to ask you to stop now, please, because we only have a minute or so before the interpreters go for their lunch break. So is there anybody who is willing to share a situation very quickly? Anybody? Okay, no. Let's please. Excuse me, please, everybody, could we listen to the example from Alette?
If nobody else is going to share, then is it on? Oh, both. Okay. Then I might as well say something. So it sounds like South Africa is doing really well in terms of, geodesy, but we have our own issues. And currently our station is kind of the town around it grew a lot. Okay, so we need to look at a new site. We have a new site identified, but it's kind of, having a new, moving the fundamental station to a new site. But our big 26-meter telescope, so on the VLBI side, also has a broken bearing. That's a huge cost. So building a new telescope or repair the bearing on a telescope that comes from 1961 is the big challenge. So I think that's the biggest cost for us at the moment is what do we do? We've been doing great for a long time, but now we sit in this situation where it's just old, equipment that's not been maintained.
Thank you for that. And very quickly, if you can just now describe what are your next steps to finding a solution to the funding around the new bearing or the relocation. Are you working with any other partners around this to help justify the business case and secure funding?
Yes, it has not been easy, and I'm sure everybody sitting here today would know. Trying to justify spending that amount of money on a telescope for geodesy is not easy. Especially in Africa where we're dealing with many other issues and that our governments need to address. And it's not always easy to see that, well, this is also addressing many of those issues. There are options. Converting our old telecommunications dish that's just right next to us, a 32-meter, would probably be a less costly, way to go than building a new telescope. Also, finding a bearing for a 60-year-old telescope is not easy. We don't have a final solution. There's options, but I don't know what we will do.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that and also being open that these things are challenging. There is often no right answer, and you need to work through and identify the solutions, the potential partnerships that you can have. So please consider that when you're drafting the business cases. Please consider the landscape, the top 3 challenges, industries, growth areas as well, because the more connections you can do with your requests for funding, the more likely that you will see success. So thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch, and we'll be back in here at 2 p.m. Thanks.